Welcome back to What's Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a 105 leFH18B2, the French Tier 5 premium SPG that we know and love as Fifi La Pew Pew, but most of you know this as a leaf blower or, well, a leFH if you happen to be Jingles. Well, this one is on the North spawn of Cliff and it's under the command of Sleeper 1950. Game on. Well, this was introduced into the game early on, the Fifi. Initially, it was supposed to be the first, well, it was the first premium SPG in the game, and it was brought in as the start of the new French line, which had just been introduced. But it's not a French Arty, it's a German one. It's a Beutepanzer, or Beutewaffen. The Germans captured huge numbers of equipment and they quite enjoyed using this equipment in their own armed forces, often using the same equipment with the same guns that they actually came with and having to build or manufacture ammunition for those vehicles in order to service them, especially if they were Soviet Arties. But a lot of French artillery or French tanks were actually converted into tank destroyers or other vehicles by mounting German equipment on them, German shells, German guns rather, and that's why they did it, because they needed weapons. And these tank destroyers were actually saving the German Reich huge amounts of money by taking equipment that was already built and then converting it into something they could use elsewhere. A lot of French equipment was either used as a garrison weapon in France, so they were actually placed in with the German forces of occupation. Oh, that's a little head-on-head action between a pair of AMX ELCs, and the enemy one died in the process, but it looks like ours has taken some damage as well. Now, there was only 16 of this Arty actually built. Only 16. They started working on them in spring of 1941. That's when they made the decision to go ahead and build them. It wasn't until late 1941 that Rheinmetall Borsig, who were given the contract, actually started converting the B2s that they were given. And they didn't complete them until late 1942. Direct hit on the T14. Nice direct hit on the Churchill. Rounds out. And another hit. Now, it's the fast fire rate of this Arty that really makes it so deadly in the game. Its fire rate is normally, by the book, 8.92 seconds. But a lot of people have actually been able to get that down even more with a rammer and a really good crew. In fact, you can get the fire rate up to such an extent that enemy tanks can't cure their tracks or fix their tracks unless they burn their repair kit. And even if they do, they stand the risk that the tracks will get damaged again, and then they won't be able to move because they'll be completely immobilized. Now, the gun has an arc of 30 degrees overall and 15 degrees either side of the center line. So, as you can see, it's actually got quite a wide arc compared to Soviet Artys. Oh, nice direct hit and a pen on the Dicamax. That shell looked as if it went into the cockpit area. And the subsequent follow-up didn't hit the target. Okay, there's the T14. You can see the last impact on the front plate. And he suffered another one. That one hit the lower plate, funnily enough. And one more shot should be enough to finish him off. The Alpha's 410. And yes, he did get the kill. But you have to penetrate 53mm of armour, and it's got a burst radius of 1.91 meters. This is one of the few Artys, because it's a premium Arty, that was never changed when they did the rebalancing And the main reason for doing that was, of course, they'd sold this Arty to so many people based on its actual capability. And if they'd actually altered them, people might be able to sue Wargaming for breach of, or not breach of contract, but for false advertising. Because, of course, they advertised that it would have specific characteristics. And, of course, if you change those characteristics, then you've basically misled the people who bought it. Well, we can't see any of the tanks down there at the moment, because the nearest tank that can actually spot for us is the N10 RBFM, who's way up at the centre line, and he's actually moving south. One of the good things about the Fifi is that it has a very good view range. 390 metres standard, and of course with a good crew that would increase. You can fit binos to increase the view range even further, so you get warning of the enemy coming, but to be honest, it's such a long view range anyway, it really makes no difference. It is the longest view range of all the Artys in the game. But also, this Arty is the one with the biggest DPM in the game as well. Even better DPM than the tier 10 Artys. It's 2,758.9 DPM. Of course, it wouldn't be able to do that sort of damage against tier 10 tanks, because of course the penetration. But you can see with that fast fire rate, it really can make a difference. I think it's actually the DPM that's the one reason why Wargaming have never introduced other premium SPGs other than the Sexton 1. And even then, these SPGs aren't on sale all that often, simply because it would affect other players if they knew that these Artys were going to be available. It will annoy the tank drivers, which is wrong, because they really ought to bring them on sale, because there's a huge amount of money that Wargaming can make, but also it would improve the game to a certain extent, because it would force the tank players to think carefully about what they do. Well, there's only an SU-85 in front of us. In fact, there's only 2 members left on the team now, a Jackson and Sleeper 1950, facing 6 opponents, and there's a SU-85 somewhere ahead, but we can't see him at the moment, but I don't think he can see us because we're behind the trees. Okay, Dickomax came into view, and he's just got taken out. I think he was spotted by the Jackson. Here's the SU-85, a nice direct hit into his rear, and the Jackson finishes him off. So that's 2 against 4 now. There are other Artys that Wargaming could bring into the game as premiums. In fact, quite a few we've suggested them to Wargaming, and I don't think they would alter the game that much, but they would give Wargaming the opportunity to make a huge amount of money, because virtually everybody who has an account has got one of these Artys, one of the premiums. Rounds out on the T-34, just missed him, but the Jackson finishes him off. The M10 RBFM, he can see where the Jackson is, but I'm not sure he can get a shot. That was a bit premature, a bit snapshot. He should have let it dial in before he fired. I think he's moved because the fence fell down. Yes, he did move, and in fact actually you can see he moved to the left because another brick wall went down, so he's not there anymore. There he is, he's moved, you see. There you go. In fact, that's the Hellcat, not the Jackson. One of only 3 left on the enemy team. But the Hellcat's now sitting behind that house because he knows that he's facing a tank destroyer and an Arty who can hit it from a long way away. Oh, he popped out and narrowly missed it. And there's the M10. Okay, dialing in, rounds out. Oh, direct hit on his side and the rear. It hasn't slowed him down though, so it hasn't damaged the engine, but we lost the Jackson. But there goes the M10, and that means now it's 1 against 2. So the odds haven't changed, but it's now all down to Sleeper 1950 to win this game. On the other hand, it means that the Hellcat's going to have to come down here if he wants to kill Sleeper 1950. They know that he's somewhere in this area of the map, they just don't know where yet. If they do come up against the edge of the cliff in grid square A2 to spot him, he'll spot them and be able to get a shot. I don't think that Hellcat's going to go through the cap circle, though. He'll probably try to skirt around it, so he suddenly appears without warning. The other enemy is an M41 HMC. He does have a kill, so he is active in the game, but I don't think we've heard from him at all. Oh, he's suddenly appeared, and Sleeper's a bit sleeping on the job, you might say. Yep, he had the opportunity there to get a kill. He should have been pre-aimed at the cliff edge, waiting for that Hellcat to appear rather than trying to aim at the cap circle. But it looks like the Hellcat... Oh, big mistake by the Hellcat. He just drove out in front without even bothering to try and come round in this direction. And now he's given the advantage to Sleeper, because Sleeper's got a much longer view range than the M41, and now Sleeper's going to move. Oh, he was seen! There was an artillery round landing just where Sleeper was at that last split second, but he pulled away. Now, we've seen Sleeper in action before, so we know he knows how to use this tank, and it's actually a very good Arty for shotgunning. He's got 7 rounds of HE left. That's all he's got, but it's all he needs. It's the 105mm light field howitzer, or Leica Feldhaubitze, mounted on a Geschütz Wagen B2F. Okay, the M41 is probably making his way towards the cap. The thing is that it's very likely that Sleeper's going to see the M41 before the M41 sees him. Remember that 390-meter view range? Well, the view range on the M41 is not that great. If I remember correctly, it's something like about 260 meters, or slightly less. So Sleeper's going to see that M41 long before the other one does. But of course, the M41's got a 155mm howitzer, whereas this is a quick-firing 105mm. He's being very cautious, just in case the M41's lying in wait to ambush. 2 minutes 58 seconds on the clock. Going to try and use the low ground in this area to creep up on the cap. He'll have to go through that gap. He can't climb up over the cliff edge on that raised level, so he'll have to go through that gap in order to get into the enemy cap area. But he's not going to cap. He will obviously have to hunt that M41. Now I can see what he's doing going up high here. He's actually trying to let the M41 see him so that he can get a sixth sense off to tell him which direction the M41's sitting. And I don't think he's in that tree line directly in front of us. So he's going to be over in this corner, over in the southwest corner. And that means the M41's going to see Sleeper hidden behind the bushes. But the moment he goes up, he's been spotted. Okay, now he knows the M41's seen him, and he's fired. That means he's screwed up, because, yep, you only get 26 seconds and for reload. And there you go. Game over. Well done, Sleeper. You have to hold your fire in the M41 until the target's very close, see the whites of their eye, and blow them away. But he didn't do that, and as a consequence, he lost the game. Let's have a look at the second game and see how the player gets on in that one. In the second game, we're on the Studzianki map. It's Studzianki Encounter, and the commander of this tank is Major MTP Cat 6. Now, the cap for this one is right in the centre of the factory, so it's right in the middle of the map. And Major MTP's moving into the bushes so he can shoot towards the factory. Now, surprisingly, this Arty only had a maximum range of 10,675 meters. The shell's actually quite powerful. In fact, most of the time, whenever somebody was being hit by German artillery, it was more than likely a 105mm light field howitzer that was doing it. course, most of the Allied troops thought that they were actually being hit by 88s. But of course the 88mm guns are only used really against aircraft or against tanks. Okay, he fired around it at the IKV but couldn't get a hit from this angle. The trajectory is wrong. Now the annoying thing about the Fifi is that it can only fire over 75% of the map. The range is limited, so if you were to try and hit the far end of the map you might find you're out of range, but if you move towards the centre you'll find that you can hit everywhere on the map. Nice direct hit on the Matilda. You can see that Major MTP's got a reload time of 7.85 seconds. That's a reduction from the 8.92. And there's that IKV, he's moving forward. Good shot, direct hit, and a penetrating round as well. Wiped him out completely. We can't get any shots on that T1 Heavy from this position. But it looks like our team are doing very well because they've actually reached the other side of the map and they're starting to encounter enemy tanks on that side. Now, funnily enough, a lot of people don't realise... Oh, there's an enemy tank there. Sorry, I missed that. Just came into view. An enemy light tank's made it all the way over to the railway line. Just the other side, very close. There he is, BT7. Oh, nice hit. He was on the railway line when he was hit, but we have been spotted. And another big hit. 440 hit points. He's all but gone. The enemy Arty is an M41 HMC, and the problem is that he can hit this Arty from that distance. So, yeah, Major MTP Cat 6 needs to change position because if he doesn't, he'll become fodder for that Arty. Now, something you may not know about the Fifi is originally when it was brought into the game, it was tier 4. But they moved it up a tier to tier 5 in 2014. And that made quite a big difference because it meant instead of actually facing tier 3 and tier 4 tanks, all of a sudden it could potentially face tier 7 tanks. Of course, the max tier it would have seen beforehand would have been tier 6. And quite a few of those have got thin armour, so that would have been a problem. Of course, if you want to get an ace tanker in the Fifi, it's virtually necessary to be in a tier 7 game so you can earn enough XP from hitting higher tier opponents. Rounds out the Chinu. Oh, brilliant shot. Tracked him again. He was waiting for his tracks to heal, so he's probably burned his repair kit. Round out. Oh, he's got a chance now because he can probably fix his tracks before the next round goes out. Yes, he does. So Major MTP tries to fire a snap. It doesn't work. You see, as you adjust the field of fire or the aim point, not the field of fire, but as you adjust it, you do get reticule bloom. And he did manage to make it into cover, so he is now behind those buildings. We do have 2 tanks in the cap at the moment, but the enemy is obviously going to try and interrupt that. Su-76, nice. Oh, he's gone before the shell arrives, but he would have hit him. And that BT7 is back. And he is actually quite a good player. He's also aimed on and gets him this time. He took 2 rounds, or 3 rounds, sorry, from that BT7. Lost a third of his hit points, so he won't get a Stark's medal. He has got 2 kills, but you need to lose at least 2/3 of your hit points if you're going to qualify for a Stark's. He can get a shot on the T1 now, but the guy moves away. Now, both of our tanks in the cap are going to suffer now that he's in, but Major MTP gets a hit, and it sounded like it actually hit the hull. And another one hit the engine bay. That's good. 159. But they are now capping. Oh, just missed. Overshot. Now he's obviously going to get into cover on the other side of that shed. He's not going to stay where he is. Yes, he's definitely hiding behind the brick walls. So, oh, he got the kill! I thought he was actually hiding behind the wall, but he was actually in the centre, and he was causing destruction to the scenery. And Major MTP spotted that. Okay, Marder 38T rounds out. That's missed. Yeah, just overshot. Work out where he's going. He's going to get turned around behind the bank and fell short. That was RNG. Rounds out. This should kill. Oh, it would have. But the P-43 got there just before us. There's only one enemy remaining, and it's a Panzer Selbstfahrerfährte 1C somewhere up in that wood in the north. Major MTP's done very well so far. He's got 1,336 hit points as far as we know. And there he is. Lines up a shot, rounds out. This is him. It was just a little too snap. And the last target is down, so it is a victory. So 3 kills and 1.3k of damage. Here's the end of battle stats for the first battle, and that was the one with Sleeper 1950 on Cliff. You can see he managed to get an ace tanker in that game. I bruised the medal for getting at least 5 critical hits, he got 19. A fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills, he got 5, just one short of getting a Top Gun. A Confederate for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team, and he got a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game overall. Let's have a look at team score. Highest damage, 2,390 hit points. The next high scorer being the T-3485M on the enemy team with 2,308, followed by the M36 Jackson, who was, well, fighting quite bravely up until he got taken out by those that pair of tank destroyers. 1,975 hit points to him. When it came to kills, yes, you can see that Sleeper managed to get 5 kills, 1/3 of the enemy team. 4 kills went to the M36 Jackson, the Hellcat, and the T-3485M. I still do not understand why the Hellcat made that terrible mistake of just driving out in the open, almost with his back to Sleeper, and allowing Sleeper to get a perfect shot into his rear. When it came to base XP, yes, he's got the top on that one as well. 1,214 base, the highest, and also the only one over 1,000. The next high scorer being the M36 Jackson with 802, and after that's the T-3485M with 779. Sleeper 5, 44 rounds, got 16 direct hits and 4 penetrations, 19 splash, damage of 2,390 hit points, of which 1,666 were at more than 300 meters. So you can see there were some close shots in that game. 1 enemy vehicle was spotted, 11 enemy vehicles were damaged, 5 were killed, and 379 hit points of damage assistance. The one that was spotted, by the way, was the M41. On a free-to-play account, he earned 38,275 credits, and after ammunition resupply, took away 32,643 credits. 1,214 base, 486 for this being a premium vehicle, and took away 1,700 experience points altogether. So he says the FIFI rules again, or the leFH18B2 rules again. Yes, it is a very, very good Arty, and in the hands of somebody who knows how to use it, it can be a match-winning tank, because it's just very, very overpowered, you might say. That's why so many tank players complain about it, because they think it is so overpowered, but really it's a matter of learning how to use it properly. Most premium tanks can be overpowered in the right hands. So let's have a look at the second battle, and that one was with Major MTP Cat 6. It was a second class tanker. He managed to get a bruised medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 10, but he did get the high caliber for dealing the most damage in that game, and his win rate from battle was 5,607, which is Super Unicum standard. We look at the team score, we can see he managed to get 1,503 hit points. The next high scorer being the Marder 38T on his own team with 1,422, and he picked up a Confederate as well. And the T1 Heavy on the enemy team managed 1,321 hit points, and he was their best player. He really fooled me. I thought he was driving over to sit behind the wall to stop Major MTP from hitting him, but no, he sat in the centre and made himself an easy target. When it came to kills, it was the T1 Heavy who did the best with 4 kills. 3 kills went to Major MTP, the P-43 and the Chinook on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, it's Major MTP who did the best with 744, 671 went to the P43, and 571 went to the Excelsior. Major MTP fired 23 rounds in that game, 9 direct hits, 3 penetration, 9 splash, damage of 1,503 hit points, of which 913 were at more than 300 meters. So again, there was some close range shots, mostly on that BT7, who was quite a good player, who managed to sneak up on him and got close, but just didn't get enough rounds in to take Major MTP out. He received 3 hits from that BT7, all 3 were penetrations, yes. 1 enemy vehicle spotted, 5 enemy vehicles damaged, 3 killed, and 12 defense points by resetting the cap. On a premium count, he earned 40,022 credits, and after repair and ammunition resupply, took away 36,723 credits. He received 1,116 XP, 2,232 for completing the mission and events, and 446 for this being a premium vehicle. Took away 3,794 experience points altogether. So 2 very different games. I think you could say that in the last one, Major MTP had some pretty good teammates, and they were the ones who were actually benefiting from a lot of the damage done to the enemy tanks because it was an encounter game, and all that Major MTP could do was sit on the outskirts and fire rounds in when targets of opportunity as they came around. So yeah, less chance to actually earn the big credits on this one. But in the previous game on Sleeper, well, yes, he had a lot of targets to fire at because most of them were being lit up fairly well. And of course, seeing as he was the last one alive, 1 against 2, he did exceptionally well. Of course, he was lucky that that Hellcat made a huge error driving out in front of him. It was a penetrating shot that went into the guy, and he also got a penetration on the M41 as well, and the Dickomax, yes, that big hit on him, and the M10 RBFM as well. And that's why he managed to accumulate so much in the way of damage and also so many kills, because of course he was getting more opportunity than Major MTP was. So I hope you enjoyed both those replays. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment down below because it feeds the algorithm and get these videos noticed. And thanks for watching.